Yes, good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the president of United in Peace, Inc. I'm also known as the Urban Translator. But first off, let me start off by saying to God be the glory. And I'd like to let everyone know that I appreciate the producer and the director of this show, which is Terry Marsh Bradley. Everybody say I'm biased, and they act like I must be married to her. Well, I'm taking not the fifth, but the sixth. Yes, I am. A guest I have today is a young brother who's a videographer. But what's wonderful about this brother is that everything he puts out, finding unsung, if that's the correct word, legends within the community to show the truth that there's more African American males and females that's doing wonderful things within the community as opposed to the negative stigma that they putting on African American males and females. Like all we know is crime, crime, and more crime. So with that being said, let me introduce you to this brother, Terrance Smith. Man, tell him everything about you. I just gave him a little bit of something about you.
How you doing? I'm Terrance Smith, and I have a video company called Bird's Eye View Productions, and I also am the video content creator for Indigo newspaper, and the section is called Eye on Shot. And I highlight people throughout the city of Chicago, north side, south side, west side, doesn't matter. And I sit them down, I interview them, and I let them tell a story. Their whole story, complete story, uninterrupted, anything. And I've done interviews on Gator, of course. His son, a motivational speaker, a young man that people need to know, and they will know him, like father, like son, right?
Right.
So, Rick Stone from Cooley High. It's been so many authors. I highlight poets, rappers. Anybody that has a great story, I'm highlighting them.
One of the things that's key, all eyes is on Chicago, not just because of the building of the Obama Museum or the Trump Tower that people don't seem to want to stay there anymore.
Right.
Okay, not on this election for the governors where they spending. Did you see how much money they spending, man?
Yeah.
They spending the candidate of choice for me, Pritzker. He's spending almost $159,000 a day.
Yeah.
Ronald's spending just as much.
Yeah.
They looking for this to be $100 million election. But one of the things that I admire you as a photojournalist, and I saw your work, and my wife and I let everyone else see your work.
Thank you.
When we did the Buck Benton Day parade.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And you was able to film that. The first time that you marched in the parade, and I never forget, we looked up and we was in the front of the parade.
Right.
So we all have became Grand Marshals.
Yep.
Chance was behind us.
Yes.
That's
true.
But what you showed in that video was the life of the parade. What you showed in that video was the personality of Pritzker, Juliana, Chance. When Chance said, "Hey, Gator, come on over here," so everybody was like, "How you know this old man?"
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean? It showed a lot.
I remember
and
that.
one of the things I believe that what you have done was to enhance the importance of African American news from an African American's point of view. And when you put your sleeve around your microphone, you've done enough stories that you should be qualified to go and get you a press pass, and I'm gonna do what I can to try to help you, whatever I can do to put you in with the people that will make the decision.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For that to happen.
I
You know what I
appreciate
mean?
it. I
Because when at the parade, when Rom allowed you to come in there with all the other media people from around the country to interview
Mm-hmm.
him,
Right.
you follow what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
You got some takes off of what was happening. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say this: we as a people no longer have to continue to ask for permission to do right. All we got to do is that is righteous and walk by faith in God and make it do what it do. How can people get in touch with you, man?
They can reach me on email at Indigo Eye on Shy. That's NDIGOEYECHI at yahoo.com. You can go on my Facebook page, Bird's Eye View Productions, or look up Terrance Smith on Facebook. You can also look up Indigo Mega Paper on Facebook, and you can check out the videos that I've done on individuals there. And YouTube, Bird's Eye View Productions on YouTube.
Hey, man, and give me your phone number, man, you know, because you got to use a smartphone. They
Okay.
need to, people may want to call you because when
Yeah.
they see your work,
Mhm.
I mean, man, when you interviewed me about Prisca that time we was
Right.
downtown,
Downtown.
I was getting the shine.
Yeah, getting the
He
shine.
drove up on me. Hey,
Yeah.
man, this is what I'm doing. And that interview helped me to end up getting a contract
Wow.
with
Wow.
Prisca. You
Wow.
follow what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I would have on my billboard, but I didn't want to wear my billboard today because I didn't want everybody to say I done made
Right.
it to Prisca show.
Right, right.
But everybody know that I believe he's the best candidate to be governor. And one of the reasons is this. You saw in the paper how the issue about the medical marijuana.
Right.
And
Right.
Prisca come out and says he's governor. He's going to push for that. He'll sign the bill for that. And not only that, he put emphasis on the fact he want to make sure the African Americans and Hispanics will be able to get a dispensary or work within a dispensary. And I think that's fantastic because young brothers, y'all may not go, y'all probably didn't go to school to learn chemistry,
Right.
but y'all know chemistry. So I'm just telling you this, that's how I became urban translator. I didn't go to school to do it.
Right.
I just let it be known that I can do it and I can charge for doing it.
Yeah.
And this will keep you from standing in front of a judge trying to explain why you don't have bond when they say you was out there shouting, what is that, rocks and blows and all that? You know what I mean? It's no joke. I'm just telling
Right.
you.
I know what it is. I mean,
Be real about it.
Mm-hmm.
When I see what Snoop is doing in California, they legalize it in California.
Yeah.
When
A
you
lot of
see
places.
the young brother with the drill music that left in went to California,
Chief Keef.
Chief Keef,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
dealing with it. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm not advocating the sale of drugs.
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying if they're going to be legal, African Americans have a right to apply for the job.
Yes.
You know, and there's something else, man. That before you get out of here, this story here, man. No, I want you to do this because I see you as our new media, our
Okay.
urban media.
Okay.
When the president said that Haiti and all the African countries was, I can't mention that because there's everyone listening to the
Right,
show,
right, right.
is a it hole.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he said this while Durbin was there and thought that Durbin was going to lie and say he didn't say it. And he felt Durbin should lie because Trump feel like why would Durbin, who's not an African American, tell on a white man?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
racist within itself. I'm just telling you what I read. But Durbin saying he's standing up for every word of it. And Durbin made that statement on the 15th of January. And the kicking part about it, that was 50 years later that Martin Luther King got assassinated. It's the 50th year anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King. And the racism today is so blatant. You follow what I'm saying?
Man.
It's like the civil rights didn't mean nothing, the voting rights don't mean anything. But tell me how you feel about this, man.
Well, as far as like the racism, I feel like that's going on right now, and I kind of blame it on us a little bit because of the steps that we didn't follow. We didn't follow the Gators of the world right now. We're on something that's totally just like disconnected from our forefathers, our Martin Luther Kings, our Malcolm X's. We got something going on now. It's just we're not following these steps, and we need to.
Right.
And being that we're not, we get put in a situation where, our music is controlling this youth and turning them into savages. They call themselves savages.
Savages,
yeah,
right.
Savages and everything. And when people see that we're not respecting our own, they're going to disrespect us regardless.
Right.
So once we stop letting that happen amongst ourselves, then I feel like it'll be a change. But once we continue killing, slaughtering each other,
You know, I'm glad you made mention of that, man. You know, before I let you go, because I got another guest coming. You see where Obama, he made it where 51% of the construction for that museum, African American construction companies, not fronts, would have 51% of that. Yet, our community, when African American alderman was trying to let it be known, had a press conference to say they appreciate what Barack Obama had did, we had agitators and haters that said, hey man, we ain't got enough, we ain't got this, but you had 100% of nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So sometimes, I'm saying that to say this, man, I don't want you to lose your hope in what you're doing.
okay.
It's time for us as elders to aid and assist people like Terrance and other entrepreneurs to get out there and do what y'all can do. We learn from you. You learn from us. Because you're going to be an elder tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, with my next guest that's coming on, this gentleman is running for judge. He is a sitting judge right now. And I'm glad he's here because I want to ask him a question about the things that a judge has to do and decisions he has to make when we see this guy being freed and they say there's 462 more torture cases that's coming up. So without further ado, Judge
Brother Gator.
Travis Richardson
Good
from
to
the
be here.
Second Sub-Circuit.
That's right.
So with the time that we have left, could you tell my viewing audience who you are besides being an African-American man?
Well, that's first and foremost.
Right.
That I'm a black man. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. And I came up extremely poor. In fact, I said po because we had the P-O and apostrophe.
Right.
We couldn't afford the O-R on the end of the word. And but I worked hard. I worked very hard. I had a very strong mother who was a praying woman in the church. And she made sure that we had rules that we follow, such as being home before the lights came on.
The light came on, right, that's right.
You know
That's
those
right.
rules.
Street
You know
lights,
about
that's
that.
right. That's right.
And so I worked very hard, and Went on to college. I was the first in my family to attend college, and then I became a public school teacher in South Central Los Angeles before going on to law school and starting my legal career here. And I was appointed to the bench by the Illinois Supreme Court last Valentine's Day, February 14th. So I'll be celebrating 1 year on the bench in a few weeks.
Right, that was Supreme Court Justice Freeman?
Justice Freeman is the one who sponsored the appointment, yes.
Right. You know, tell everyone, I said we got to call him. Call him and get to you in less than 15 seconds. I just want the judge to let everybody know what district he's running for, sub-circuit that he's running for, okay, and what seat he's running for, because there's others within the second sub-circuit that's running for judges. So could you let my viewing audience know this?
Yes, there are 6 vacancies right now. I was appointed to the John Turner vacancy. Okay. There are 2 people running for the position. That's myself and my opponent. I'm the only one who went to the bar associations and was found qualified or recommended by every single bar association.
Right.
The second sub-circuit is on the south side of Chicago. It's the 9th, 21st, and 34th wards primarily.
Okay.
It has a little bit of 19, but not much. And then it goes into the south suburbs. So it starts at about 83rd Street on the north. It goes down to 183rd Street.
Okay.
In the south suburbs, Thornton Township, Calumet Township, Birmingham Township. And it's from the I-94 on the east all the way to Pulaski on the west.
Okay. I'm glad you made mention about your qualification, because it's my understanding that your opponent, none of the legal bars has recommended her, or?
She has not received at this point any recommendations, positive recommendations to be a judge. And I think this is very important because you want the people making these decisions, which can be very tough decisions, to be vetted by their peers, and that's what the Bar Association does.
Okay. Caller, could you please state your name and voice your opinion, because, you know, on this show, your opinion is expected and protected.
Sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Gator. This is Ray.
Hey, Ray, how you doing, sir?
You know what? I had cataract surgery today, and not even that could stop me from calling the show.
I appreciate you.
Because I like it so much. But I want to say this. Why is it that the library that's going to be built for President Obama won't have one book in it? I've never heard of a library without books.
Oh, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I saw something in the paper today where they're going to have a library within the museum. You know, so I'm glad you brought that up. But to address your concern, there's going to be a library in that museum.
Let me say this about Pritzker, the guy that you're going to vote for. He was just caught on a 15-minute tape colluding with
Bogorovich. Let me help you right there too, and the judge right here can attest to that because he's heard about all that. First off, he never was involved in the crime. He was never charged, and that was a tape that even Bogorovich trying to find out who released it.
The thing is, when Rod Blagojevich said about cutting off some people, you know, of millions of dollars, Pritzker agreed with him and said, yeah, that's a good idea. And what kind of stuff is that?
Hey, man, let me share something with you, man. That was an edited tape. He wasn't talking about that. His whole move is when you listen to the full tape, and you can go online and get the full transcript, and you can hear everything that he was saying. He was getting off that conversation. He was telling him, I can't give you no more money. I can't give you anything. But the fight to say is this. What do you think about Kennedy and the Wolf Point project, where he was trying to say that the mayor was pushing people out of the city?
Yes.
And it come back. But hey, man, I got one thing I want to say to you, because my time is getting short.
Okay.
What, you got a question for the judge?
Yes.
Okay, come on with it.
I sure do. Okay, sir, are you going to make sure when you win that there's going to be some African American and Hispanic construction companies getting some of this $100 million instead of just Caucasian people? Will you please promise me that you'll do your best to do that for us. Thank you.
I like the way he phrased that question,
Right.
when I win,
When you win.
as opposed
Right.
to if. So
Right.
I'll take that. The way that the legal system works is that judges come in at the back end of matters. The judges are not quote unquote proactive. We
Right.
react. In other words, if there's a dispute that is brought before the court, then the court steps in. Without someone bringing the matter to the court's attention, it's up to the political stakeholders and legislators to make sure that the fair distribution of the contracts is taking place, and then those who feel like they're on the short end of that can seek recompense by filing a lawsuit of whatever kind they like, and then the judge would make a decision. But the judges come in at the fair end of that, and I can say this. I believe in fairness. I believe in justice, and I believe that the courts are there to balance the scales.
Right.
And usually the scales are imbalanced against people of color, against the poor, the disinherited, and those who've been locked out. And I think that the courts are probably the best representation of our government of where everybody's on an equal footing.
You know, one thing I do know about you, I've been in your courtroom,
Yes, you have.
and not as a defendant, people, not as a defendant. And boy, to God be the glory on that one. But I've watched you interact with those that came before you. And one of the things I do know, that you let them all know that you're non-biased and that you're going to administer justice based on the Illinois and the United States Constitution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, once again, judges are there to balance the scales.
I got another caller. Caller, come on, let me hear you. State your name.
Hey, how you doing this evening?
Hey, what's your name?
This is Paula over here,
Hey, how you doing, sir?
talking from the Italian neighborhood. Hi. Hi. Hey, Mr. Judge over there.
Yes.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, ma'am.
Why they didn't get all this stuff 20 years ago right the first time? Why they don't get it right? How the heck you find a judge from 20 years ago? And then you get the poor guy that's been in jail. They must have some really good lawyers to get them up out of jail after 20 years, whether torture or this or that. Why they can't get it done the first time?
Okay.
And then when they get out, they hit the lottery, they sue the city, and there goes all our little money.
Hey, you wanna? Well, I'm gonna let the judge answer that, and I'm gonna make a statement.
And
Judge, answer that for us right now.
I think that's a good question. Well, one of the reasons that there was apparently a miscarriage of justice is because, one, I was a new attorney at the time and wasn't a judge. But I think that what we have here is a continuation of trying to correct some wrongs that were done in the past where people who were innocent
Right.
were convicted.
Right.
And I can't think of greater travesties of justice in our American legal system than to send someone who's innocent to prison, particularly for long spans of time. And the way to avoid that is to have, as I said before, good, qualified, compassionate, conscientious judges who look at the evidence and can make decisions that are going to be correct. When
Right.
you make bad decisions, that often comes from bad judges, who have to often come from people who want to be judges who probably should not be on the bench in the first place.
You know, I'm glad you made mention of that. I'm glad she made mention of that. There's a case where 5 guys were tortured. 4 guys was tortured during the Burge era. 2 of them were acquitted. One of them was tortured so bad that they stamped on his genitals where he ended up with one of his balls gone. The city come back and they created the reparations, and those 2 of those guys got $100,000 apiece. You got 3 guys that's in the penitentiary for life. Their cases are coming up. One is Javan Deloney, One is Ivan Smith, and the other one is Terrance Brooks. Terrance Brooks is the one that's collateral damage because they was tortured to implicate him in a crime that they didn't commit. Okay? And one of the things that's happening, and I applaud Kim Fox and her new integrity unit. You know, before I wrap it up, I want to say hooray, hooray for them because she allowed her integrity unit to look into them cases and bring them back before the judges to make the right decisions, and that's why you're seeing all of them leaving. I want to say this because I got to go. Judge, I'm glad you came onto the show and shared this.
Brother.
And the fact of the matter, people, if they're wrongly convicted, we want to pray that they all come out, and we want to pray that they come before a judge that's not biased, named Travis Richardson.
Thank you very much.
To God be the glory, and I'm out of here. See you next week.